Hello, this is KurossuElemenze with another exciting episode of my solo speedrun challenge of Dragon Quest IX. And I say that as facetious as possible because this is the dreaded yet promised level grinding episode. I'm just going to do a couple things in town here, and then we'll be able to bore you to death. First off, I'm going to be picking up hopefully my last Chimera Wings ever, mainly because I still need to be able to transport myself rapidly for the rest of this recording session. And I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but I did plan on picking up the weapon upgrade in this town, which is an iron broadsword. It gives me 8 more attack power. Also, I'm going to be selling all of my old equipment that I can't use, mainly so that I can make sure that I keep my money up and can sort through my inventory quickly. Most of the stuff that I'm selling now is going to be a piece of cake to get later in the game. And what I'm doing right now is I just sold my last accessory, so out the door I go. And now I am on to go meet Dr. Flemmy, or Fleming. Flemmy as his wife calls him, in a dungeon called Quarantum. Quarantum is especially important for speedrun because of a specific enemy that I'll be showing off quite extensively today. Luckily, I didn't run into any leafy larrikins, and most of these enemies here are not persistent pursuers. The carts, however, do charge at you. You just have to get them to go on a single path and then bolt to the side. And welcome to Quarantum. Nice little out-of-the-way place. And inside, Dr. Fleming is waiting for us and announces, "Oh yes, just as I said, the earthquake has ruined our lives," and basically gives the geekish answer of, "I'll do my job, you do yours." And this is actually a fairly straightforward level. I like zigzagging my way through, just because there are several treasure chests, some with important items in them, and there are 2 switches that I need to hit to be able to advance in the dungeon. Here's the first one in the top left, the other is in the top right, and it's just a light puzzle akin to some of the Flash games that you see. This is an important item, at least for this playthrough. It's a seed of skill. It gives me 2 skill points, which is something that I desperately need. The actual purpose of this video is to get levels, but the main necessity for those levels is the skill points that you get from them. I managed to grind up quite a bit in one episode, but I would have had to grind even longer if I did not get that seed. So, in the process of opening this door, like so, I made sure to pick up all of the treasure chests. The other major reason for doing that is actually further south down that right path there. I'll be able to show you in a second, but it's for an item that allows us to open a door later, which gives us more gear, or treasure chest, I'm sorry. It gives us a weapon upgrade, and that was the mini medal. They are scattered throughout the world and are dropped by several enemies. But once you get 4 of them and you reach a certain point in the game, you can go ahead and turn them in and get an item called a magic key. And here is our main enemy. It's called Metal Slime. it is the main reason that I got Metal Slash. Anyone who's played previous Dragon Quests or Dragon Warriors know a bit about these. 4 hit points at most, and it's dead. But I zoomed right by it there. 4,096 experience for this enemy, and I got really lucky in that fight. But as you can see, I'm pumping points into shield skills. I just got 2 of them there, and now I'm going to do the most boring part of this, and this is where I get to say this was 30 minutes of footage, but as you can tell on the bottom left, I fast forwarded most of the long waiting sections, because there are 2 ways to try and get enemies to spawn, being out of the way like I am now, or running the gauntlet of other enemies and trying to dodge them, which I personally find more fun. But this is more time efficient. The only problem is sometimes it gets stale when all 3 spots are filled and they all want to move towards the center, and the center can't move. I believe I might have been able to get the center spot to spawn if I had stayed above this rock, but I wanted to ensure that I could get to the enemies quickly, and if it was in the bottom center, I couldn't do that from on top. But here we go. Here's my second metal slime. Like I said, 3 to 4 hit points. Right there, I was actually checking the mana cost of Glockenspiel because I was somewhat interested in a bit of data gathering, actually. Not the best time to do it when you're doing a speed run, but right now I'm getting about 4 skill points per level, and that just got me the tier 3 shield ability. Most of what you get for shield abilities is blocking, block chance, and things to facilitate blocking or even reflection. As you see though, this time it was much shorter, and the metal slimes have a unique appearance in this dungeon. They fall from the ceiling, whereas the other enemies rise up out of the ground. So if you're bolting through the corridors, it's something to keep an eye out for. Oops. Yep, almost put a point in sword skill. That wasn't my intention. I was just trying to advance the dialogue too fast. And back to waiting we go. I found that if you stood at just the right spot, it seemed like enemies weren't spawning. So I moved, and this was probably the longest wait. I think it was maybe 7.5 minutes before the next enemies, the next metal slime spawned, which when I was recording, of course, felt much longer. So I just sat here and I was actually playing another level 5 game at the time. It was Dark Cloud, or I was trying to, I should say. The game system that I had bought to play it on wouldn't read the disc. I went and got it replaced, and now it doesn't, the buttons don't work as well, but it reads. So as long as I can continue to get the case to open and the PlayStation to turn on, I'm doing alright. But yeah, this, even doing it 4 times normal speed, this boiled down to almost 2 minutes of footage. I was tempted to make it a bit longer, but I decided against it, and just like everything else, it eventually paid off. But it gave me a lot of time to read some of the sequencing that I needed to do after the dungeon because I had actually forgotten. And here we go. There's actually a time during this grinding section that I believed that this specific area helped make the metal slimes braver. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a bit, but here's what metal slimes do. They have a weak melee attack with low accuracy. They have frizz, and that's just the low-level fire attack. The Lost Soul, once you hit it, it has a chance to explode, and that's what happened. But now that I'm level 19, I believe this is when my bad luck started, and why this turned out to be 30 minutes of footage, because in, I'd say, the first 15 minutes of actual footage before the time warp, I've already managed to gain 6 levels, and my target is level 24. So, here we go. The other enemy is a mummy boy. Kind of boring, but it's got high DPS, or high damage, especially when they show up in groups of 3, and they get damage chains on you. The other nice thing about metal slimes is that they are mostly high armor, and a normal crit will kill them, because the crits in this system ignore armor. But you just saw it. That is why metal slime hunting is a pain like nothing else, especially when you're doing counterattacks. The metal slimes have a very, very high chance of fleeing. As the quickest monsters family in the game, they typically can go first, and if they decide that they don't want to fight you, they run away. Now that I'm starting to get up into levels, I think it may affect their choice to stay or run. So we've got that now. And the other major annoying part of the Mummy Boys is that they have a lot of hit points. I forget what they're called, but the Mud Doll Knights, kind of golems, they're alright in terms of fighting, but they follow the same aggression mechanics as the carts. Once they see you, they go in a straight line, so if you cut across their path, you can typically avoid the fight, which is really good considering how many of them were on the bottom section of the screen when I was running at a slime on the right, or the left, I should say. But most of this actually turned out to be a metal slime less than a minute of wait, so I did not accelerate any of this footage. And here we go, here's another one. The ghosts, they're called mean spirits, I think I fight one of them later, are persistent pursuers, and there you go. Slime that runs away to fight another day. So when you're doing the gauntlet, trying to get all the items, and if you do the gauntlet method of just running willy-nilly, you have a good chance of aggroing them, and the only way to stop them is to run them into a physical object, such as this pillar, or one of the mirrors, or a treasure chest. You can also, if you're close enough to a corner, juke into the corner, and they should get caught unable to make the turn. But that's what happens when you attack these normally. You just typically do nothing. I did find out, however, that if you critical with a metal slash, it still only does 1 or 2 points of damage. This was during one of my dry runs when I was trying to get the path and sequence right for the items, and I've lost track of how many I've fled at this point, but it's still under 5. This was about 20 minutes of footage. That's more than acceptable because I am actually fairly close to being done. Like I said, my target is level 20. Not because I am not 20, level 24, and it's not because the stats I get from leveling are worth it, but trust me, they do help quite a bit. As a solo character, I'm fighting creatures that are designed to take on entire teams. So, but it's, again, just to get skill points. And level 21 is important as well, because that is when I get mid-heal. It is a beefed up spell of heal. It does, I think, a base of 70 or 75, plus magical mending and I believe level factor into it a bit. So I get heals off of that currently in the range of about 85 to 95, at least by the time this video is done. It costs twice the amount of magic that a normal heal does, and a normal heal is, at this point in this adventure, anywhere from 35 to 45 usually. But here we go, into the fight we go once more. Yes, this is metal farm sliming. Yes, metal slime farming at its best. I decided that if I waited for any portion of time significantly more than a minute, I would fast forward the film, and a lot of the remaining fast forward segments are shorter, like somewhere between a minute and a half and a minute, or yeah, a minute and a half and a minute 45 seconds, just so that they can cut out. That would have been about 4 minutes of waiting. And there we go, another slime kicks up some dust. This is the unfortunate part of level grinding and having to show your work. I do believe in off-screening, and I've considered doing it, but as a specific portion of this challenge, I didn't. You'll also hear the song skip when it comes off of the fast forwarding, because I kept the initial music background because I did not want to have the complete silence, and I did not want the fast forwarded music because it sounded rather manic and kind of screechy. Imagine chipmunks on helium singing as quickly as they can. I don't know. But once this LP is done, which seems like this is a long ways out the way that I play, I'm actually considering doing another Square game called Legend of Mana. It's from the original PlayStation, and it falls outside of the normal scope of what is now the Mana series. The reason I like it the most is it's fairly modular. You can do what you want to do in it, and I love the crafting system. I enjoy games where they actually reward people who craft rather than what seems to be the modern stigma that if you craft, you burn all of your resources and your time only to be given a drop from a enemy later in the game to completely nullify it. So I guess that game is what originally spoiled me on crafting. Ever since then, I haven't really seen a game that matches it. It does have a Game Boy Advance counterpart called Sword of Mana. But you're also starting to notice in my fights how the shield is blocking more and more damage. It's particularly helpful, but that's the side effect of investing the points into my shield skill. And I actually got lucky, and I think I got back into the string of a slime every 30 to 45 seconds. So, 2 more levels to go, and about, I'd say 4 more minutes of fighting. So that I think I actually get close to done at this point. The Magus here is standard spellcaster, like a wizard if I made one for my party. They basically control you. They do AoE damage. They do a mute attack called Fizzle, and if they smack you with their staff, they drain a small portion of mana equal to the... actually, I don't believe it's equal to, but it's a proportion of your mana based on the hit. So they can be really nasty if you're trying to go for a low MP cost. And at the end of this video, I will actually be stopping at the final award, which is, I believe it's the 40 skill point skill of shields. And I'll be able to talk more about that during the next video, but it is our actual goal for this fight, or this video. We need to have that to take on the next boss. But back I go to waiting. I basically got to the point where I would stand just to the right of center so that the exclamation point didn't appear, because when I originally was doing this, or the second or third time I went to wait, I noticed that the enemies weren't spawning. But yeah, if these enemies explode on their own, you get nothing, but if you kill them, you get experience. So there's that at least. I believe the writing on that wall actually just tells you that you need to touch the 2 statues to activate the lights. It isn't so much of a puzzle as it is just a requirement. If this were, say, a Zelda game, you'd be running up and down the halls trying to turn the mirrors so that they crisscross at that final mirror and hit the door for you. Apparently the game developers took pity on the players, and I'm actually to the point where I don't level off of every metal slime battle now. So I believe that either this last fight or this fight I experienced but don't level up. Okay, it must have been the last fight. So now I have an extra bit of experience under my belt. Level 23. 1 more level and we're done with the grind. And yes, it is a 40-point skill for shields that I'm going for, called Magic Mirror. As we can see, I just waited out, and thank you for sticking with me. But I did mention earlier that if you wanted the actual content for this recording session, skip this video, and it is kind of cruel of me to remind you with only 30 seconds remaining. This is going to be my last Metal Slime battle, and This is KurossuElemenze saying that thank you for sticking with me. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, well, at least got some information from it. And I will see you next time. Until then, have a good day.